Hey guys, Jengar here. Welcome to today's realistic review in which we are taking a look at the MiG-3-15 BK sitting at 2.3 battle rating. We looked at the MiG-3-15 not too long ago and I had a lot of fun in that plane. It is a damn good plane, 1.7 battle rating. And this one is no different. It is the same plane, same engine, same flight model, same frame. With two extra guns, two gun pods actually. Of course that creates a little bit of extra drag, so that, you know, impacts the acceleration a little bit. The top speeds are slightly less good than the MiG-3-15, but the firepower is much better, and yeah, makes the finishing power, the stopping power a little bit more efficient. And it's still a lot of fun. The same principles apply. You cannot turn with this plane, and you need to make sure that in your boom and zoom runs you take a little bit more distance than you usually take, because it takes a long time to turn this plane around, whether it is in the vertical or in the horizontal. So you got to be a little bit more relaxed, make long loops, and make sure that you have enough distance between yourself and the opponent. You will see me make a mistake there somewhere with a Hurricane, I believe, who then gets a shot. I managed to move in time, but it will come in a little bit after I kill Free Hong Kong there. And after that I will go after that Hurricane, but you'll see. But that's what you got to be aware of. If you turn too quickly, you might be in trouble, because most other planes turn twice as fast as this plane, and real dedicated turners might turn 3 times as fast as this one. So it's not 2 turns, it doesn't take a 2 turns to get on the tail of this plane. That's only in the extreme up tiers, of course, but still, it is what it is. The maximum speed in this plane at sea level without web is 459 kilometers an hour without web, and 483 with. At 4500 meters still go up to 433 without web and 453 with. And finally at 6500 meters this is 415 without and 434 with. Now these differences between the 15 and the BK is just very slight. It's a few kilometers, 3, 4, 2 kilometers an hour difference on altitudes with and without web. These speeds are in indicated airspeed, by the way, without Mach. The top speed in a dive is identical to the 15. The BK gives a red line at 643 and rips apart around 725, 730 ish. And there is of course the issue with the control stiffening in the elevator as well. You have a big tick in the roll rate compression at 425 and another one at 550, and the elevator definitely kicks in as well. It is not great to start with. As you see here, this is that situation that I talked about here. I am just not getting the plane up. The elevator control is just leaving me in the dust there. The Hurricane, of course, is a maneuverable aircraft, and well, he just had a huge opportunity there because of that. And even though I flew the 15 not too long ago, and I flew a match in this before, it's still sometimes you just miscalculate the distance that you have, and the elevator authority that you have is just limited, as you saw. So it can definitely still surprise you sometimes. But I guess if you fly this plane a lot, you will slowly get so accomplished in it that you will not make these mistakes anymore. In this case I was lucky, and the Hurricane did not get its big guns off on me. Maybe he just had the machine guns left, I don't know. But those big guns could have wrecked me there. But yeah, I did of course make a little flip there just a moment before he could get a shot on, so that definitely threw him off. But bloody hell, that elevator control is not what you want, but it is what it is in this plane. I mean, it has to have some downsides, of course. That is evident, otherwise this would be completely overpowered. In the form and shape that it is at 2.3, there is plenty of competition for this plane. I mean, in the turn time, the Spitfires can climb. The Bf-109 F1 is a fantastic aircraft. You have the CW-21. You have Corsairs, early Corsairs and stuff like that at 3.3 zeros. There's so many planes that have excellent performance in so many areas that there is definitely competition for this one. I think if you want to talk about the O&P in the same sentence, as I don't do that very often, but then the 15 is more of a O&P plane than the BK, because the extra battle rating change just makes the up tier so much more brutal that the boom and zooming strings that this plane has don't make that much of a difference anymore. There is definitely planes in up tiers that can wreck you in boom and zooming, so there is that. And this plane is bound by short boom and zoom runs, and it's limited top speed in a dive, of course. There is that. The stall speed in this plane is also a little bit worse than the 15. The BK stalls out at around 130, where it was 115 for the 15. Firepower is great. You have one 12.7 millimeter Beresin UB machine gun with 280 rounds per gun in the nose. You have two pods on the wings, same gun, with 145 rounds per gun, which is it's alright, but it's limited. And then you have the two 7.62mm SCUS machine guns with 750 rounds per gun, just as the 15 had. So the BK has those two gun pods as extras. You do not have any rockets or bombs on this plane, so it is a pure fighter with an air start, a interceptor, and with these extra Beresins you can definitely wreak havoc amongst bombers and fighters as well. The ammo loads are very good. Now the performance, as there is a little bit more drag with the two gun pods, it is not devastating. I found that the acceleration and energy retention seems very similar, with acceleration in a straight line at decent and in a dive good. I would not call the energy retention in the horizontal great, excellent like with the 15, but the BK I would still call it great. And then you have still good vertical energy retention. The plane does climb decent, it has an air spawn, and you can definitely be the highest plane in most of the matches. There is some big matches where the opposing team gets enough time so that they can compensate for that air start. And well, get above you. You know, there are certain climbers that are just excelling at climbing, and this is not a plane that excels. It's decent. It's a little bit less than the 15, but it is marginally. As I said, the differences between the BK and the 15 in the performance are noticeable, both in speed and acceleration and energy retention, but the differences are minute. They are not big differences. The turn time in this plane is bad, as you know by now with these planes, and below average with flaps. The flaps rip off at 590, that's a little bit of a difference. I tested it twice, and the flaps on this one seem to rip off a little bit later than on the 15. I don't know why. I'm not that much into the technical differences between these two planes, but that's what I got. So a little bit higher, which is always good. The roll rate in this plane is below average, which, yeah. Hey man, you don't want to maneuver in this plane if you can avoid it. Unless you are sure that you have the energy advantage like I have here, and you can position yourself at will. Then you can maneuver. It doesn't lose too much speed with these maneuvers. That's why vertical energy retention good. Maneuverability overall is bad. The overheating in this plane is not an issue. It overheats only when you web for a long time, and then only the oil, and it cools off very quickly. So I have no issues with this plane when it comes to overheating. Durability in the plane is good. It can take a lot of damage, which is nice. Not that I took a lot of damage in this one, but it's the same frame as the other one. I did take some damage in that one. So there is that. This plane is a boom and zoomer with short boom and zoom runs, and it can energy fight. And the stopping power on this one with the 3 Beresins at 2.3, that is really great firepower. You also have the two 7.62s with a lot of ammo. You can take a lot of pot shots with that. That's where your main ammo is. And then you have the finishing power in the Bearsins, which is awesome. And you just get a good results in this plane. You can wreak havoc on the down tiers, of course, but you won't face the 1.0s in this one with a 2.3 battle rating, which is good because that is just too much of a difference there. But yeah, this plane then can definitely compete, and in the up tiers it is interesting because some of the Corsairs 3.3 are very good. I love the Corsair line, and of course they trump you in the boom and zooming, and that's what I like about this plane. You also meet more of the P-38s, which are also great at boom and zooming. Love those planes as well. Which plane don't I love? Well, I've seen a few, but this is a great plane, and at a 2.3 battle rating, it is a joy to fly it. There is enough downsides to it that it is interesting to fly, with the lacking elevator control, where you really have to calculate distances and keep your eye on the enemy opponent and make good decisions on what you want to do with maneuvering in a range of 2 to 3 kilometers, because it is risky. If the plane is definitely turning towards you immediately, you have got to be the one that extends to 4 or 5 kilometers and then turn around for another run, because you are gonna bite the dust, of course. There is precious few planes, fighters, that have the bad elevator control that this one has, and that is something you got to work around. It's definitely possible, but it also gives people something to work with that fly against this plane, because this plane is not too great in a dive. I mean, the 643 for the red line, that is not high, especially in up tiers in this plane. And if you then look at the elevator control, Jesus Christ, man, that is disastrous compared to many of the fighter this thing faces. So only the experienced veteran pilots can make this plane the dominating plane that it can be. If you're a beginning pilot, you will make many mistakes in this plane. You will be shot down a lot, and you will start to think that this is a crap plane. Which it is not, of course. It's an excellent plane, but it's got to be in excellent hands. Otherwise, it's going to be lacking. You're going to think, this plane doesn't turn at all. Everybody can shoot at me. How terrible is this? But it's actually good, of course. But it is a specific plane, and you got, as I said, I think just the beginning pilot is not gonna like the MiG-3s. It's not that straightforward. Short boom and zoom runs, and that's the only thing you can do with a little bit of energy fighting. It's not a big window, and some people think boom and zooming is the most simple thing there is, but it's actually very difficult, because you need something that is called patience and decision making and positioning. That is actually the hardest part of this game, because most people don't have the patience for it. Most people just go in there and just do whatever, which, you know, might be satisfactory in the short while, but it doesn't make you a better pilot. Most people actually cannot boom and zoom that well. But yeah, that's another debate. I might make a documentary about that, about the flight style. I wanted to do that for a long time, but yeah, there are some fallacies there that are interesting to talk about. Let's see what we got for awards on that 6-kill game. Final Blow, Hero of the Sky, Survivor, and Last Man Standing. Almost 70,000 Silver Lions and 8,000 research points. First place in the team. I'll see you in the conclusion. Hey guys, so here we are after the match. This is a great plane. You have 2 extra guns in gun pods. As I said, a little bit extra drag. Slight impact on the performance in speeds. It's just a few kilometers. It's really nothing terrible. And you have the 2 extra guns with 145 rounds per gun. Now 3 Bearsins on the target are devastating. You add to that the 2 7.62s. You have great firepower on the plane. You have the performance, which is more than good. Acceleration and energy retention. And then of course the air start, which really gives you the chance to be the highest plane and use this plane as it's supposed to be used, with short boom and zoom runs and some energy fighting involved. You got to be very attentive to the bad elevator control. Make sure that you extend enough in engagements. When you boom and zoom, don't turn around too quickly. The other person always turns quicker than you. So you gotta have either, you gotta see that you are already turning and the enemy pilot has not responded yet, which, you know, is about reflexes and pilot skill. And then you can continue your turn. Or you gotta extend, because if you face an equal pilot, you will always lose the maneuver fight. If you're aware of that, and you're disciplined, and you have the patience to set this plane upright, then she will be a beast for you. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye. If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button, become part of this community. If you are already a subscriber, don't forget to like the video, do leave me a comment, and if you really feel like helping out today, make sure to share the video with your friends and let them know about the channel.